Good morning. I am Lieutenant Lonnie Laurie Ross, standing in for the Director of Police Personnel. May we now take a moment of silence to remember Sheriff and former Detroit Police Chief Benny Napoleon. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family, extended police families, and friends of Sheriff Napoleon. On behalf of Chief James E. Craig and the Detroit Police Department, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome everyone to the Detroit Police Department's appointment and promotional ceremony. We are here today to recognize the accomplishments and celebrate the success of members of the Detroit Police Department who are being promoted to the ranks of captain, lieutenant, sergeant, and training corporal. These members have studied hard, persevered, met the challenge, and mastered it. Today, their sacrifice and commitment, along with the sacrifice and commitment of their families, is being rewarded. I would like to acknowledge the family members and friends who are able to join us today virtually. We thank you for your support. I would also like to acknowledge the mayor's audiovisual team who enabled us the ability to provide the families of these promotional and appointed members a platform to view the ceremony during this challenging pandemic time. At this time, Sergeant Philip Curtis, please present the appointment and promotional candidates.
First detail, attention. Left, first.
The presentation of the appointment will be facilitated by Corporal Brian Cottrell. We will start with the appointments to the rank of captain.
Captain Vernal Newson. Captain Theodorus White. Captains, you may now pin your badges. We will now begin the promotion of members to the rank of lieutenant.
Exhale. Attention. Left face.
Lieutenant Star Gonzalez. Lieutenant Donna McCord. Lieutenant Anthony O'Rourke. Lieutenant William Jackson. Lieutenant Michelle Zaburkot. Lieutenants, you may now pin your badges.
Detail. Take your seats.
We will now begin with the promotion of members to the rank of sergeant.
Exhale. Attention. Left face.
Sergeant William Ziola. Sergeant Kimberly Rada. Sergeant Charles Lynham. Sergeant Denise Wallet. Sergeant Cassandra Spikes. Sergeant Charlton Smith. Sergeant Eric Peterson. Sergeant Sean Hocradle. Sergeant Jacob Moss. Sergeant Lauren Snyder. Sergeant Robert Stankiewicz. Sergeant Michael Richardson. Sergeant Melanie O'Rourke. Sergeant Sophia Nelms. Sergeant Alan Williams. Sergeant Antonio Allen. Sergeant Arthur Galeska. Sergeant Rodney Cushingberry. Sergeant Kevin Alfrey. Sergeant Eric Pengelly. Sergeant Roland Frederick. Sergeant Jessica Huber.
Please take your seats. Sergeants, please pin your badges. You may now take your seats. At this time, please welcome Chief of Police James E. Craig for remarks.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. And as I begin to start my remarks, just want to again for us to take a moment and remember Sheriff Benny Napoleon, also former Detroit Police Chief. If we could just take a moment. Thank you. Yes, this is a somber day, and as I reflect across my career, in my brief remarks, we have to, sometimes think about the roles that we attain as we move through this journey. And this journey, for me, has been 43 plus years. For many of you, you're still at the beginning phases of your journey, but just remember the lives you touch. When I think about Benny Napoleon, I had a chance to talk to several media outlets this morning. I had to reflect on my own career. I know that, by way of example, certainly AC Assistant Chief Todd Bettison was mentored and touched by Sheriff Napoleon throughout his career, and the impact that has had on Todd. Also, First AC LaShinda Stair has also been mentored and touched by Sheriff Napoleon. So when I think about the impact that Sheriff Napoleon had on me as a young lieutenant then, when he became chief of police, Benny was referred to affectionately by my mentor, Chief Bernard Parks, as the baby police chief of Major City Chiefs. And in an affectionate way, Benny was the youngest police chief in America of a major city. And that's a lot to say about who he was. And so it helped me formulate my goal of one day becoming a chief of police. And so as I went through the different challenges, going through the ranks, I will tell you, it was that kind of inspiration that got me to where I sit today. So know as you sit there and you take on this new level of responsibility that you matter. Leadership matters. But I want to also start by thanking the Board of Police Commissioners who I believe have joined us. Thank you for your support, your leadership. Certainly our unions, Captain Eric Toski of the DPCOA, Lieutenant Rodney Sizemore, and Lieutenant Mark Young of the Lieutenants and Sergeants Association. And again, I want to thank Lieutenant Lonnie Lowry Ross, who is the Acting Director of Police Personnel. And last but certainly not least, the men and women who serve in the Detroit Police Department, and yes, the finest police department in America. So yes, we're here to congratulate 2 captains, 22 sergeants, 5 lieutenants, and 16 training corporals. Yes, you're taking that next step, but you have chosen to take the initiative to become the next leaders within this fine organization. You know, I had an opportunity to talk to the lieutenants and sergeants, and I must say, that was some of the best 2 hours I spent, you know, sharing insights, hearing from you. And as I looked around the room at these new sergeants, these new lieutenants, that is indeed the future of the Detroit Police Department. I want to also take an opportunity to talk to the families, the friends who have stood by you throughout your career. Certainly, they're here to honor you today and will continue to uphold the gold standard of policing that our community has come to expect. Our community members and supporters, I can't say enough. You know, when you look back at the weeks of protests that this department endured, our community stood with us, stood by us, and for that, I'm deeply respectful, and appreciative of that relationship. So in the past year, Detroit police officers have surely put away the misconceptions that many have had about this department for years. Now, in almost 8 years, we have worked tirelessly to change the fabric of this organization. All around the world today, the Detroit Police Department is acknowledged for its continuous drive to become a premier policing agency. Despite the many challenges that we have faced and that we will continue to face, you have continued to embody the vigor and a desire to make our city safe for all to live, work, and enjoy. When COVID-19 swept through our organization, causing 650 sworn civilian members of our department to quarantine, we adapted and we overcame. When civil unrest ensued across America, threatening the relationships we've cultivated with the residents here in our city, without hesitation, you continue to protect and serve our community with both compassion and respect. It has truly been humbling for me to watch your phenomenal efforts during one of the most challenging times in our profession. Throughout today's ceremony, I want you to all reflect on the perseverance and tenacity it has taken you to rise to the occasion in serving the great city of Detroit. As you ascend to the next levels of your career, know that you should inspire others to follow in your unblemished leadership and continue to surpass the great work that you have already accomplished. Know that what you do as a sergeant, lieutenant, can make or break this organization. When I had that conversation with you, I told you how important the rank of sergeant is. I don't care what situation, major corruption scandal, it always starts with first line supervision. So we're counting on your courageous leadership. Woodrow Wilson once said, "You are not here merely to make a living. You are here to enable the world to live more amply, with greater vision, with a finer spirit of hope and achievement. You are here to enrich the world." Know you will be asked to lead with discernment, execute with precision, and adapt quickly to a changing environment. We saw it this summer. We saw it this spring. Understand, we'll continue to take courage to make those tough decisions and compassion to listen to the needs of people we serve and your fellow officers. As I've said many times before, and will continue to say, yes, cops count, but leadership always matters. Remember that leadership not only includes guiding others to success, but also building relationships and ensuring that everyone is performing at their best. Acknowledge that you must continue to demonstrate leadership qualities that have brought you here today. Moreover, remember at all times, we must remain transparent, remain professional, and always stand for what is right, even if it means standing alone. In closing, remember the oath that you took, why you wear the badge, and why you've chosen to take this next step. Be courageous in your calling. Let your code of ethics and integrity guide you and sustain you on this journey to continue to strive for greatness. And let me close by saying how much I appreciate you. I appreciate your leadership. The challenges that we face this year are going to continue in the coming year. I can't tell you what those challenges will look like, but what I do know with certainty, this is the team that will make it happen. So in closing, I just simply say, stay safe, stay vigilant, and may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Hail. Attention. Have face. Forward. March.
please take your seats. We will now begin the appointments of members to the rank of training corporal.
Detail. Attention. Have face.
Michael Truman. Yoshim Young. Darius Tolbert. Caitlin Bardway. Adam Sexton. Samuel Anderson. Jermel Mitchell. Tracy Moreno. Stephen Anuti. Justin Bardaway. Nishol Quinn Abdullah. Sandra Whitfield. Adnan Balia. Nicholas Haupt.
Detail. Line. Face.
Corporals, you may now pin your badges.
Did we call Rhonda Lewis? We have another corporal, training corporal, Rhonda Lewis.
Corporal Rhonda Lewis.
I know many can't see Rhonda. Rhonda probably has the biggest smile on here. She's been keeping me laughing all morning, trust me.
Training corporals, please take your seats. At this time, Chief James Craig will have closing remarks.
Thank you. And I'll just simply want to say to all the training corporals, a big congratulations. You really have an important role to the Detroit Police Department. Uh, in my last remarks to the new promotees, the captains, the sergeant, lieutenants, I talked about the importance of the sergeant rank. But make no mistake, what you do with developing these young officers will have a lasting impact. I remember vividly with 2.5 years when I joined the LAPD and I sold on those chevrons, those 2 chevrons. It was one of the most proudest days. But I didn't know it then, but I found out later the impact that you can have on so many people you touch. So always remember that. We're counting on you to keep this organization going in the trajectory of greatness. I know we're great, and we're going to continue to be great. And I just want to simply thank you for the job you've done. 2020 has been a year that I'm ready for the door to close on it now. It's been the most challenging in our profession, going from COVID, and then from COVID into weeks and weeks of protests, and then COVID spiking again. But whatever challenge this department's face, it's you, the men and women on the ground, getting the work done. So, only thing I would like to leave you with is simply thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for making this department great. So may God bless you and keep you all.